Kate, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, man.
Are you ready for us to have our chat?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you so much for being part of Biscope with me, Mary Kate Masilela. Last time when I spoke to you was at PCR. We were talking about Wonder Boy for President, and I'm sure.
Yes, we were.
Yes, and I had a great time. And now we talking to you about your next film, The Umbrella Man.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched the movie, but I still have a lot of questions. I'll be definitely watching it like tonight. The first question is, when I was researching, I saw that the movie, the development of it started, I guess, on 2009 Film Festival.
It's called Atelier. They select a script
Yes.
from around the world.
Yes.
Well, they select 15 scripts, and after Bunny Chow, we had a script of the Umbrella Men, and they picked up the script and they asked us to come to Cannes.
How was that experience?
It was great, man. I mean, what they do is they take you over and then they partner you with the whole lot of. They put your script out there and the genre that it is, and they put it out to all the producers who are arriving in Cannes and all the distributors, sales agents, and then they read the 15 scripts that are selected at the L'Atelier, and it's part of the Cine Foundation, and then they set up interviews. So for about 5 days, you sit on the Bazette in south of France, in Cannes, and taking meetings with producers and distributor sales agents. It's a great thing to get into, and we had a great time. We met many people. Some people are still involved with the film. It was like 14 years ago, so 13 years ago. So it's amazing. Some of those relationships we set up then are still good now. It's crazy. A guy called Evod Zakai, who runs Echo Lake in LA. I had one of the meetings with him, and he's very excited about the film. I sent him a link. He loves it, and we're going to hopefully catch up at a big festival soon. So those things are great. They're really cool.
Yeah, which is interesting. When you're actually going straight to streaming, are you actually isolating yourself from film festivals by choice?
No, not at all. So we've been very lucky with Evod in that it's not a restrictive contract that we're in with them. It's actually fantastic. It's very open to going to film festivals, to releasing in cinema later on in the year, to releasing cinema worldwide, and even to go on to other streamers. So it worked out for us. We had a look at the contract and the fact that they were willing to put some money into the film, which is brilliant. They turned out to be good partners, and they don't mind. I think they see it as a long-term thing, is that it'll be on their platform for a long time, and they don't mind if. I think the world has changed, in a way, Mary Kate. Is that like in the past you would have to go and do festivals, and then you would go on to streaming, and then you would do this and that. But it seems like with all the competition, with all of the streamers around, that festivals are also open to, they don't restrict you and say, well, you've been on a streamer, therefore you cannot be at the festival, etc. So I think it's just changing. There's so much content, and I think people want content, but they don't want to put rules in place that will deny you getting your content onto their platforms.
So, since you're gonna be streaming, and I think you chose like a great platform, personally, working with Evod, because a lot of South Africans have like ETV. So it will be definitely distributed to a wider audience, because not everybody has access to Netflix, and now we're having Disney Plus and stuff like that. So you actually will be in contact with your target audience.
Absolutely. It's like, and I think that'll happen in a couple of months. So, yeah, you're right. It's a very good platform. He is obviously nationwide, and everyone can access it. So, I think that's the plan for the next 7 or 8 months, is to just keep marketing the film and showing it, you know, with partners who are keen to show it, but are also keen to get it out into the world as well. You know? So far, it's been great. And they came with all the money, which is great. And they are pushing South African films. They've got a lot of good South African films on their platform, and they're putting money into SA film, which is great news for everybody.
It's by high time.
Yeah, high bloody time, man. Come on.
Let's talk about the IP, because this is a film channel. A lot of filmmakers are interested. When you're actually working with a streaming service, how much do you control your IP to the future when you're working with other streaming platforms, or let's say if you want to take it to cinema or something like that?
Well, I mean, in terms of what their input is into the project?
Like, let's say, like your control of the project yourself as a producer.
No, they're like anybody that puts money into a project. They want to have a say, but you find, you know, you will have robust conversations, and that's a tough thing for young filmmakers to be tough and to believe in the aesthetics and the IP and the idea of your project. And you always have to have those discussions from a point of view, from a creative, is that it's your idea, and if they are buying into it, then they have to a degree, in a respectful way on both sides. You know, you have to listen to their side, they have to listen to your side, but ultimately it's a creative endeavor, and the directors and the writers have that creative say, and you must fight for those things, otherwise there's no point. It's too hard. Like Umbrella Men, for example, I've been trying to make this for 14 years, you know, so, and it's really hard to pull people together, or producers to put people together. It's a very tough thing. So, you know, you have the right to fight for the things that you want to stay in the film. So how can I answer this? Just be, just believe in your project, believe in yourself, and believe that what you're doing is correct, and fight for it in a way that doesn't break things down.
Yeah. Can we talk about the concept?
Yeah, sure. So I always wanted to rob banks, and this is my idea of robbing banks.
Yes.
It's funny, when I was, we had Bunny Chow we were traveling around the world. Bunny Chow, we were at the Cannes Film Festival, and I remember, this was 14 years ago, this was before the L'Atelier, and I remember where we were standing, because we had just finished Bunny Chow, and we were going, what is our next project? And I guess it came from all the questions around Bunny Chow. Was wherever we were, you know, especially in the States, people in America were like, oh my God, I didn't know there was a music festival in South Africa. We're talking about Opi Kopi, and they were like, there's lots of things we have in South Africa, you know? It's not just safari time, you know? And so I thought, you know, I love whatever, even from when I was a kid, my dad always talked about the clubs, the minstrels. In fact, when he had one of the soccer teams and they went down to Cape Town in the 70s, my dad took us with. We drove down, and then he showed me District 6, and they'd just been pulled down, and I remember that quite vividly. And then we went to see a couple of clips of shows, and then when I was in Cannes with Kahisa and all these questions about festivals, I thought, well, we've got this amazing carnival, the Minstrel Carnival, which is like 200 years old. It's one of the oldest street carnivals in the world. It came about through the emancipation of the slaves in Cape Town. They took to the streets dressed as minstrels, so I thought, well, if I can marry one of my favorite genres, which is caper and heist, with a carnival and a festival in South Africa, and kind of put that out there to the world, I thought it would be a good next project. But naively, I I kind of thought that would happen a year later, 2 years later, and here we are 14 years later.
Yeah.
But so that was the idea, was just to take that genre and use a South African something quite iconic and make a film.
Can we talk about the locations when you were shooting in Cape Town, especially now with gang violence and stuff like that? How was your crew feeling? Were they feeling safe?
No, and unfortunately, yes, they were feeling safe, because fortunately it was during COVID. It was during quite heavy in the pandemic. It was last year, middle of the year. Everyone had masks on. Everyone was being vaccinated. So I think everyone was more stressed about that. And I got sick at some stage. And obviously the producers were panicking because if I was out or someone was out, we'd have to stand down for a whole week, which would have been a disaster in terms of small budgets. So the gangster, that element was not so much in the forefront of our minds. It's more about trying to get through the pandemic. Actually, but the locations are amazing. We set the film is. Sorry, I know you asked about the concept. The film is about a troop of.
It's fine. You don't have to give all of it away.
No, I won't. But the premise, basically, it's a troop of minstrels who rob a bank during the carnival, and they use the fact that their faces have been painted and they all have the same outfits on. They use that as an alibi, so no one can say, well, you weren't there on the carnival day, because they will say, well, we were, And while the carnival's on, then they dig a tunnel under the street into the bank. So they use their cultural things about their culture. They use that to their advantage and get one over the man. So the locations are all beautiful. We're in the Boer Kaap a lot, because, as you know, the minstrels are split. Between Muslim and Christian communities. And so because District 6 was pulled down and used to be the real core of the minstrels, we used the Boer Kaap. So I spent a lot of time in the Boer Kaap, actually, which is really beautiful. What a great place to live and to work. It was a very cool experience. The locations-wise was all good. No drama whatsoever.
Can we talk about, you're one of those directors who love working with, you have a good surrounding of actors around you, and you always how can I say, dabbling with them into different projects like Joey Rasdeen. How is that every time your writing process? Do you write them immediately in mind, or once you're done, do you okay, I can place you here and stuff like that?
Yes, well, I'm very fortunate. As you may or may not know, but I did the Pure Monate show with Kagiso, David Cow, Joey, and everybody. So we had a great base. That's when I first arrived in Joburg. So how lucky was I? We fell into that. We were all starting out, and all worked together. So I had an amazing base of comedians that we could work with, and because the show brought in a lot of actors, we also had lots of actors in. I've done a lot of things with Kagiso and with Joey and with Jason Cope and Rob van Vuren. They're all involved in this film, and like you say, I do stuff in Kagiso's films and he does stuff on mine, and the same for Rob and Joey. But yes, definitely when I write for specific characters. So the crazy thing with this film is that when we started writing, it was going to be Joey Rasdeen, Trevor Noah, and Kim Engelbrecht were going to be the three young people that we have in the film now. But because we had to wait 14 years, things changed. And as beautiful as Joey Rasdeen is, he doesn't look 30. But I love him, but he's not 30 years old anymore. So sadly, so that was the crazy thing about it taking so long to do. But I'm so happy that Joey was in the film, and we kept writing. As time went by, we kept shifting and changing the characters, and then luck would have it that when we actually found the money last year through Joel Perry and KAE, Joel was an amazing producer. He got the money. We actually, at the timing, got really lucky because we got Shamila Miller Jacques De Silva, and Keenan Arison, and Bronte Snell, who are these all these young kids who are really talented, who could play the leads. And then we're still able to have really great rock and roll cameos from Kagiso and Joey and Rob van Vuren and Dan Jacques Martin too. So yeah, but I think you've got to write around the actors and the people that you have in your either your friend, people in the country. Have an idea, have that person's face in mind or their character, and then cast for your character. Stay true to your character and work with somebody you've seen working on TV in a drama series or sitcom, and just keep them in mind. It helps you to write the character. You use certain parts of their characteristics or mannerisms. It helps.
Let's talk about the lead, Tariq. When I was looking at the synopsis, talking about the loss of his father, him inheriting the club and stuff like that. I think it's also one of those things where like two generations kind of like apart, and he doesn't feel like he belongs, and he feels like he is outgrew that space, which a lot of South Africans feel when it comes to coming down with traditions and culture.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us more about him?
Yeah, well, I mean, I based it a lot on the relationship with my father, and I have, and like you say,
I love your dad.
Yeah, I do too. He's actually here now. I'm in Durban now, but he's going to watch the film tonight. He's actually got a suit he's going to put on.
Yay!
He said, "No, I'm putting a suit on to watch the film." He's been hearing it for so long, but. So, like when you're young, you have this thing with your parents, and you've got to try and make a place for yourself in the world. And many of us have come from areas like Durban or PE or, and you go to the big city, to Johannesburg, to try and make it. And you either do to some degree or not. But we can all relate to that, where we go off and then and come back to the place that where you grew up. And so I think for our character, him and his father had a huge split over music, and his father was pushing the minstrel gunga sound, and he kind of felt that was a little bit like an old school way of man-tanning or playing for your supper kind of thing, and he felt that he wanted to go to Joburg and create his own legacy away from his father's music. And all the trappings of that music and that community, because I think some people feel like they want to get out there and prove it to themselves, that they don't need that support, from their family. So what he does is he goes to Joburg and he does make really great music, and he's a hip hop producer and jazz producer. But when he comes back to bury his father, he then starts to reconnect with that community, and that reconnecting with the community is what pushes the film forward. So I think it's always about, unfortunately his father's passed on, but he connects with his father throughout the film. I think that's something a lot of us can relate to.
Can you tell us about the cinematography? Who shot it? It looks so beautiful.
Oh, thank you, man. He's such a special guy. Mateo Maeng.
Mateo, really?
Mateo. He's a real talent. I mean, I think he's really going places. He shot a beautiful film. What a great human being. Such a cool guy to work with. We just created really cool stuff. We connected. So, but he's got a great eye, a great spirit. We're very, very creative. He shot it. It's beautiful. It really is. It's a really good looking film.
Yeah, because I would say like your story themes, it is about culture, and the festival is full of it's very colorful and stuff like that, and I felt like he actually brought that out.
He did. Absolutely. We also very fortunate in that we had a little bit longer than most people have in pre-prod, because we had some funding issues which sent us to Cape Town, and then we had some issues, and then we were kind of stuck in Cape Town for a while. So we actually had like an 8-week pre-prod where I sat with Mateo. He was going back and forth, but I sat in the production office and literally storyboarded every single scene. So it's amazing what time does. And also a huge learning curve is that the really good films that you see that come out of Hollywood, most things are good because they have superstars. They also have a lot of time to spend on the pre-prod and getting those things right. I mean, we tend to sometimes in South Africa we don't put enough emphasis on pre-production.
Yeah.
Pre-production is amazing. You can get so many things worked out and done. In fact, we're pushing for the second film, Vermin 2, and we're pushing for even more time to be able to craft stuff. So, yeah, it was a great learning curve.
How interesting is that? Because on Twitter today, I just posted like for one of your movies, I said like which one would be like a great trilogy. I said like Umbrella Man, Bunny Chow, and which one? What was the third one? I think 31 Million Reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were like opting for Bunny Chow, so it would be actually interesting for a trilogy for this one.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, this is already going into the writing phase. Because it was so great shooting the film, we wanted to, and the characters are strong enough and in a way can go on to do a sequel. Hopefully. So yeah, we're writing because it's really cool. But yeah, David Kabuka often says, and Kim Engelberg always says too, we should do Bunny Chow too.
I think you should write Kim like a full script. I think you should write Kim like a full script. Like I can't wait to see Kim in a leading role in South Africa. She deserves it.
She's amazing. Yeah. What a great, fantastic actress and person. She's so cool. She's great. I'd love to work with her again.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Let's talk about what you're expecting, like your expectations when it comes to the South African market, because right now Evod it's for like, can I say like Africa? Where does the reach end? Is it like just South Africa or just like Southern Hemisphere? How far does it end?
It's South Africa for now, but I think there's plans in the next couple of months for it to go wider. And like I said, I think we're going to do a lot of things over the next couple of months. And if we do go ahead with the Umbrella Man 2, we'll be in Cape Town at the end of the year. And I think we'll have a lot of screenings in the community. We 2 weeks ago, we went to Cape Town. We screened in the Boerkaap at the school that we used as a base camp. And it was a fantastic experience to see all these kids. It was just I got so many surprises because there was like kids in there, and there's all like people from the community, and they screamed at the kissing scene. And I just didn't expect the kids to. They just loved it. It was just amazing response. It was so cool to watch our film in the community, looking out over a mountain, and it was just they screamed it every time they saw one of the houses or the street or the people, because a lot of the kids who were there were actually in the film. So what a great experience! And if the carnival is on, which it looks like it's going to be this year in January, then I think we'll all be down there doing quite a lot, showing the film and getting people excited about the carnival. It would be lovely for the film to be a part of the marketing of the carnival.
Yeah.
So lots to look forward to. So we'll show. I think everyone will get to see the film over the next couple of months. You have like your own genre when it comes to like comedy. I think you've created your own like genre in here for South African. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
for
you.
style.
Nice.
What did you call it earlier on?
What's that?
What did you call it earlier on? You said something like when you called it, when you said you were merging like your two favorite genres, like for bank robbery, and you said something else.
Oh, caper.
Oh, capo. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah. So caper. So heist is more like you've seen Heat, with guys with
yes,
blazing AK-47s, and there's a bank robbery. But with so there's a lot of those examples. But with caper, it's more of a comedy and a take on a bunch of people trying to do something. They don't necessarily even have to rob the place, and it doesn't have to be a bank. But it's about any group of people getting together to try and get money out of somewhere. And there's a lot of, the characters are a little bit more eccentric, and the stuff that they're trying to steal or rob from is not necessarily like a bank. So even Ocean's 11 falls a little bit into caper. The Italian Job, Sexy Beast, it might be a little bit more heist, but yeah, I love the kind of caper films, which just because the characters are great, and we often borrow from like Guy Ritchie's characters in Lock, Stock. Those kind of characters, we love those guys. So when you see the film, Chichiso and Joey are fantastic at those kind of things. So yeah, definitely caper is a great genre to be in. I'm very happy and very lucky to have worked in this and then the next one. So it's a lot of fun. But those characters are, they're a bit crazy, Yeah. I like Joey.
When you like you like working with a lot of comedians, why do you like doing that? Do you feel like they're very authentic, or when it comes to like what they're saying, it's quite metaphorical and like it's stuff that people don't usually say, or you just want to go for the shocking factor?
Yeah, I think there's an element of shock factor that we like, and the comedians are definitely in that firing line, as you know, all the time now, because they tread that line. That line is, gets them into a lot of trouble. It's very thin, how they get taken. So yes, I do love that they do speak about things that it's not deemed to be cool, and they bring up topics where people should talk about things. And I think for that reason they're great. But like I said, I was just very fortunate to work with, to be involved with the Pure Monate show from very early on. And from just enjoyed the sense of their performance, because they're performing to crowd all the time. So it's their go-to thing, that they're very good at performance. The only thing is that they're beautiful when they improv. The moment you try and pull back the comedians and get them to do dialogue, the tricky part comes is when if you're doing a film with all comedians, then it's just crazy like Bunny Chow. And you run with the improv. And you say, we're going over here, we're going to do this, and that's going to happen, and Kim Engelbrecht is going to arrive, and she's going to do this. And then you go, and then you create this beautiful stuff like we did with Bunny Chow. But the tricky part comes in is when you have a script, because the natural instinct for the comedians, certainly the guys I work with, is to do a lot of improv. So, but when you have actors, the actors are waiting for their cues. So, you can't let Kefiso, because Kefiso will just go on for 3 hours. He's amazing, but you've got to kind of reel it in a little bit in terms of the waiting for for the actors to perform with him. But I love the blend of huge respect for actors, huge respect for comedians, and I really enjoy the idea of having a mix of both of those skills and personalities on set.
I have to say, well done for pushing like comedy, you and your group of friends and fellow like colleagues and stuff like that. But I really want to know, where's comedy in South Africa? I feel like it just disappeared or just went to a corner. It's hibernating somewhere. So I'm actually looking forward to this project. So like, what happened to South African comedy, especially like on television?
I think that what we're talking about just now is that it's also, not all the broadcasters want to have that controversy all the time. So comedians will push those boundaries because they have to. They want to talk about those things. They have to be on that edge, otherwise they're not funny. It's not worth going to go and watch somebody talking and being super safe, right? Where's that? There's no entertainment in that, because you're only talking about these things, not doing them. You're just bringing it up so that we can discuss things, so they're not pushed under the ground and then made worse. But I think possibly what happened is that I think COVID hit the comedians really hard. I know all of their live gigs were cancelled, and so they've lost a lot of comedians that have gone on to do had to take other jobs. I bumped into a comedian the other day. I won't mention his name, but he's now selling houses. So
wow.
It's because and it was I could tell you his name. Everyone would recognize his name, but he's now getting into to real estate because there were just no gigs. All the gigs dried up, and they had a really tough time. So those comedians really are the ones that are out there at the moment are surviving and bouncing back to a degree. But I can't really talk for them because I've never been a comedian. I'm not as brave as they are.
Yeah.
Have the chutzpah to stand up on stage, so I can't really talk for them. But I imagine it's a lot to do with the pandemic.
But
so I hope they come back.
The reason why I'm asking is because you're a producer and you create content. It's about the platform, but you just explained right now is that probably like commissioning editors and stuff like that. They don't want to take the risk of actually being sued or anything like that. But a country needs to be brave to actually be discussing what's happening internally with the country.
Yeah, I mean that was a great thing about the Pure Monate show is that we brought up everything that was taboo. We laid it out there. There was no sacred cows. We even my father had a go at me. We did you're too young to remember, but we did a sketch about Madiba, about him and his house, and even my dad was like, "Hey, John, we'll leave Madiba alone." So the thing is, we used to have so much drama, right? Because every episode, when it started on Friday nights, like the phone calls, SABC were inundated with calls. People were so upset there, and they played us all the calls. It was hectic, So they were brave SABC was very brave back then to take on a show that we were given complete carte blanche. We could do anything. I mean, we had lots of arguments with the commissioning editor to get content through, but they were still allowing content through. And I feel it's a real pity for the young comedians in South Africa, and it's a real shame that Pure Monate got cancelled, because even if I look at the filmmakers at the moment in the country, they all came through Pure Monate. The cinematographers like Zeno Peterson and Tom Murray, Greg Harmon, these guys all were shooting on the and it could have been a constant stream of people who had cut their teeth on sketch comedy. So it's a pity. I would love to have something just to hold up to the country to through comedy to create a discussion about everything, from Cyril and what's happening on the front. All those things. Like, you've got to have somebody in South Africa holding a light for these things so that we can through comedy discuss.
Satire is very good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, thank you so much, John, for being part of the conversation. I am looking forward to the movie, and I'm gonna do a review about it. And I hope you're gonna get back to doing that engaging comedy satire soon. I hope someone is gonna commission that. And congratulations, and keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Marika. It's very nice of you, and thank you for having me on. It's very, very cool to chat to you. Thanks for supporting.
Most definitely. Enjoy your evening. Are you guys going to be having a red carpet?
I hope you dig the film. I hope you like the film.
I will. I probably do. I'm one of your number one fans. Really.
It's very cool of you. Thanks.
Are you guys going to be having a red carpet today?
What's that?
A red carpet.
Yeah, well, it's a screening. It's a screening, so it's not a red carpet, but it's a screening. Yeah.
Okay.
It's about to happen now.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
I'll see you on the red carpet in the next few months. How's that? We'll do a red carpet in Cape Town or something like that.
You must send me the invite, and I will come, and I'll vlog that.
Okay, brilliant. Cool, Mary Kate. Thank you.
No, thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you so much to John Barker for taking part in this film interview with me. I truly appreciate it so much, from back in the days in PCRFM. So if you're new to the channel, please do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you soon.